Well, hello everyone, and welcome to my highlights of the 5th race weekend of the 2017 Formula Sim Racing Winter Series. I'm starting in 11th, which I was pleased with, but disappointed with at the same time. I desperately wanted to qualify in the top 10. My pace looked good, just like it had in Brno, but I just missed out on the top 10, and I had to start in 11th because someone beat me at the last second in qualifying. So that was a disappointment, but still P11's good. It's only one position less. As you can see, we're lined up on the grid, and we have the lights in Valencia. Lights out, and away we go. And we get a fantastic launch off the line. But because our start was so good, we can't switch to the inside, which means we have to take the outside line going into turn 2, which isn't ideal. So here we have to just concede position. As you can see, there's Carol Basco cutting across as I head into turn 3. And I'm losing heaps of positions here. But now, I believe I'm currently in around P11 at this point. I don't have the name tags on. But as you can see now, you've got Gabriel Martin diving up the inside, not leaving me really that much room, and that allows Ivan Leonov round the inside going into the bridge. So now onto the straight. As you can see in the mirrors, you've got Jan Vesely, my teammate, behind me, and we go to the inside but a bit too late, and eventually we are defenseless to Jan Vesely. As you can see, we're now alongside Gabriel Martin, who does cut us off. So now heading onto the second of the two straights. So you've got a spinning ACR car there. I think that was Carol Basco. But now heading down the straight, heading up towards turn 17. And we are able to get down the inside of Gabriel Martin. So at the end of lap 1, we were in P12. So that was one position off where we started. So now looking at a replay of the start, before I'd just been releasing the launch control, but then I decided to do some things with the throttle at the start, and that could give me a better start. And it did pay dividends, but the good start kind of cost me, because as you can see, I was forced to the outside and then I was squeezed. Now we're looking at the start from Carol Basco, looking behind. As you can see, that's us on the outside there. And we are through at this point. Now going to a frontal camera, but as you can see, he does cut us off. Moving on to lap 3 now. And as you can see, we are behind Jan Vesely and Ivan Leonov, one of my teammates and one of my sister teammates. So as you can see, they are batting it out ahead, but we are now right behind our sister teammate, Ivan Leonov. So now heading up towards turn 8, we're going to dive it up the inside, and I think we have made that move stick. Eventually he had to back off, and that was quite an opportunistic move, and I was quite pleased with that move. So now we are right behind Jan Vesely for P10. And we're going to try it up the inside going into turn 12. And we have made that move stick. But he is going to try to get the drive. But we have the inside line, even though we run a bit wide, which is going to give him the switchback. Which means we are likely going to have to go defensive on the run up to turn 17. Which should be easy. But we've overcooked it going into turn 17, and he is able to take the position. Now moving on to the start of the next lap. As you can see, Leonov is right behind us, and he's going to dive it up the inside. He's locked his rears and gone across the corner and has taken the position. And I'm pretty sure the stewards would have had a look at that if it wasn't for what was about to happen next. So later in the lap, looking from on board with Danny Van Der Neat, as you can see, we are trying to get past Ivan Leonov as we head up to turn 12. And I'm trying it round the outside, and I do have to back off. So now Danny Van Der Neat is able to get alongside, but we are able to defend the position. He's on the soft tyres, so he'll have more pace. And now he has the run, heading down towards turn 17. He's going to throw it up the inside. A little bit of contact, but it was a fair move, and he has taken P12. So we are down to P13. As you can see, we are going to try to see if we can get that position back. But Danny Van Der Neat has hit Ivan Leonov, and he rejoins the track, goes straight into us, and we've lost our rear wing as Josh Radford hits us. That did not go to plan. As you can see now, looking at it from Danny Van Der Neat's perspective, he locks up, hits Radford, and then rejoins the track into us, and we could do nothing there. I mean, looking at it from Josh Radford's perspective, I mean, maybe you could say I could have given him more space to rejoin the track, but he had plenty of room. But he did apologise to me after the race, did Danny, which was very sporting of him, and I forgave him. But now, as you can see, looking at it from my point of view, as you can see, I went through a gap. I could do absolutely nothing to avoid, and my rear wing was gone. So at the moment, I was just seeing what the damage was like, but then I realised my rear wing was gone by the way the car was fitting, and I had to retire, and I was very disappointed. My pace looked good, and I feel that is another top 10 that went out the window. But still, we had a second race to go, albeit from 24th on the grid. So, moving on to race 2 now. As you can see, there's a little bit of confusion as I was lining up on the grid, people working out where their grid positions were. And then I eventually found my grid position, so I didn't have that much of a long wait for everyone to line up. Lights out and away we go, and we have to take avoiding action of a slow starting Clayton Brown. There's a little bit of contact there with someone else. I think that actually might have been Clayton Brown because it was the same livery. You can see we have a gap on the inside that we can go into to be able to advance some positions. Bit of debris flying up. Now heading into the chicane. As you can see, all hell is breaking loose. We've got 2 cars into the runoff area, and we are currently in quite a battle of cars right now. As you can see, squeezed in a straight line by Gabriel Martin. You've got Clayton Brown steaming up the inside, and there's contact, and we hit Todor Vasilev, who I'm not sure what happened there, but we actually had a bit of damage from it, and our car was more understeery, which meant that at first, when I first turned, I thought my front wing was gone, but then I realised I could continue. My pace wasn't that far off where it usually was, so I was free to continue on, despite understeering. As you can see, we are right behind Clayton Brown, who I think has suffered more damage. As you can see, he's struggling quite a lot. I think it's that actually looks like a damaged suspension. But as you can see, we're a bit ambitious when trying to get past because we tap the wall. But we make the move down the inside. But there is a block up there. I'm not sure we gained any positions out of that, but almost forced us to give up the position to Clayton Brown. So, as you saw, a very hectic opening lap. As you can see, there's Brad Hutchinson going into the pits, and there's quite a few other cars in the pits as well. So at the end of lap 1, into P14, which I was pretty pleased with. So we are now right behind Danny Van Der Neat, who's behind Gabriel Martin. But he puts up the power too heavily and spins out of the chicane. which is obviously going to give us a position. So we were up into P12 after Pankratov pitted, clearly having a drive. As you can see, we are behind Martin and Wilson, who are battling it out for position. Now Gabriel Martin having a look down the inside of Callum Wilson, and he has made that move stick, and we are going to get the exit off of turn 3 and diving it up the inside going into turn 4. A little bit of contact, but we do get the drive off of the chicane, and we are side by side heading up towards, I think it's turn 8, and eventually he decides to yield and we take the place. So we are up into P11. So now, as you can see, we are behind Gabriel Martin now, and we have a look down the inside, and we seem to have made that move stick. There's a little bit of contact. I think we shut the door on him there. Now we have the inside line, but there's a little bit of lag, and that is going to allow Callum Wilson through. And I was actually pretty annoyed. I thought the game has decided, nope, you're not getting ahead. I'm going to put you behind Callum Wilson for good measure. So we were actually down to 11th because someone else had retired, so it wasn't down to 12th. But as you can see, they're getting very close ahead, having a lot of contact, but we are unable to take advantage. Now, as you can see, we're heading into the chicane, and Martin makes a mistake, but in avoidance, we lose it and we hit the wall, and we've lost our front wing. At this point, I was tempted to call it quits, but I'm not the sort of person that does that. And then I had an idea, which meant that my race was not over yet, especially as I saw Gabriel Martin and Danny Van Der Lee, who was behind me there, having a coming together at turn 8. So as you can see, I'm into the pits, obviously, for a new front wing, but I also switched to the super soft tyre. 7 laps to go. I can definitely get the super softs to the end, which means that my pace compared to everyone else's old mediums or soft will hopefully be faster. As you can see, I rejoin behind Luke Maguire in P14, but points are still possible. P14 would become P13 after an incident ahead, and it would then become P12 as Luke Maguire has a massive crash, which is a shame for him as he's one of my teammates. P12 would eventually come P11 due to another retirement. As you can see, we are now behind Leonov and Vesely, just like in the first race. As you can see, Vesely having a look down the inside, but he spun it, and that is going to gift us P10, so we are in the points. Now moving on to the final lap, as you can see, Jan Vesely going down the inside of Thomas Andriamaharisara, heading up towards turn 8. We are going to have a look down the inside of Thomas going into turn 10, and we have made that move stick, and I was pretty happy with that move. So we are up into P9, despite starting 24th and losing our front wing. And it's not over yet. As you can see, we are right behind Jan Vesely, hoping to take P8. As you can see, he's running wide, heading into the fast right-hander, now about to head into the final corner. Are we going to throw it up the inside? We think about it, but we can't. So we are going to finish in P9. But considering, as I was saying, considering all of that, I was quite happy with P9. I mean, yes, it wasn't the race I'd hoped for, and yes, I do feel I should have had a top 10 in the first race, which would have translated to a good reverse grid position in the second race. I was pleased to have been able to recover P9 in it all and 2 points. Anyway, that is it from my race review of the Winter Series around Valencia. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week for the final FSR Winter Series weekend. Goodbye.